Good morning. That probably doesn't mean anything to you, but I did just recently wake up. And I don't usually record something like right when I wake up, but I had a pretty vivid dream last night, and I still remember most of it. And I don't typically have that happen. And so I decided I want to talk about this one because I think its implications are interesting. And so the fact that I still remember it, we're going to go with it. Basically, I had a dream last night that I was with my family, and we were at some location that for some reason had all of the government documents, like all of the important documents, like the Constitution, that stuff. I mean, we weren't in like a museum. Like they were like just like up on the wall, like easily like grabbable, basically. Like behind glass, but on the wall, like basically, like not secure. It wasn't secure. And so we were at this location, seemingly in the middle of nowhere, with these documents just practically out, right? And we're all walking around looking at the documents and I'm there with my family, and then these people come in, right? And they start like they look sketch, right? They look like they're up to no good, and I notice they're walking around, kind of looking at things, and I'm like, these people have guns, and I go over to my dad. I'm like, Dad, like these people have guns. And for some reason, he took that as, oh, so we can take them? Because in my mind, I was thinking, these people have guns. We shouldn't do anything, right? We shouldn't do anything. These people have guns. They're going to kill us, right? My dad took that as, Dad, these people have guns. We can take their guns and kill them. And so I was like, well, that's not what I meant, but it was too late. And he goes over, he grabs a gun, he starts shooting, right? I go, oh crap, right? Like, we're in it now. So they start blasting their guns everywhere, right? They're like, pow, 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 pow. And unfortunately, some of the people there, it's not just my family that's here. There's other people. Some of these people get hit in the crossfire, right? Because these people just start shooting, right? They're like, oh, we're getting attacked. They just start shooting everyone. Any innocent bystanders had nothing to do with it. They start shooting everyone, right? I take cover while they're opening fire. Then it becomes clear, right? That whoever told these people, hey, go take these documents, did not give them proper gun training. Because after they stopped shooting, right, they ran out of bullets in their magazine. But none of them know how to properly reload. And so I run around. I start beating them up. I disarm them and stuff, right? And like this one guy, he's like struggling to get it out. He's just barely about to get another mag in, right? I get to him too. I basically, it's kind of crazy, but we win, right? So we win, and then afterwards, there's this whole thing, like everyone's like talking, like I think like the cops come basically and are like doing an investigation, figuring out what's going on. And then while we're standing in a group talking about the whole situation, another group of people comes, and one of them comes into our group and is like, wow, guys, this is so crazy. Like, what do we think about this? Almost like trying to distract us from the fact that it's happening again right in front of us, right? People are literally trying to do it again. And so I'm like, you're literally just trying to do the same thing, aren't you? Like, you're just trying to distract us. And then he's like, oh, I mean, I don't know. And he slowly starts to walk away. And I'm like, so I was right. So he like leaves, and we're like, okay, they're trying to take it again. Like, what the heck? Like, this just happened. Right. And then, so honestly, like, what happens with them is unclear to me. Either they give up and stop trying because we caught them in the act, or they attempted, but like they didn't have guns and they didn't have the proper tools because I guess maybe they were secured back in place, behind glass or whatever, and they didn't really have a way to get through the glass or something. I don't know. It unclear, but to my understanding, basically they failed, potentially. Or they succeeded and just no one even noticed to stop them, but I did. So it went one of those two ways. Anyway, that happens. we move on, right? And so we walk over to this, like, kind of like, it's almost like a wooden pavilion thing. And I'm there with my brother, and we're sitting there, and like this, it's like this, like, it's like it's practically made out of like wood pallets or something. Like it's barely, like it's a very worn out, it's very like weak wood. Like um, it's not well constructed, I would say. Like maybe it was at one point, but like now it's like falling apart practically. Like it's not doing so good, right? And so I go to my, like, I'm there with my brother, and we're like standing there, and I'm like, and you know, we're looking out at like just this beautiful view of like a pond with like a forest in the background, and the sun might have been setting, it may not have been setting, but we're just looking out, and we're like, and I was like, don't worry, man. Like, I don't know if he said something like, man, this place is falling apart or something like that. I was like, and I said, like, don't worry, man. Like, we're going to build this. Or maybe I just like looked at like the state of the wood and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I could rebuild this. Like, it would be easy. We just got to go over there and get like more wood. Like we could build this like ourselves, and we don't even need anything, right? The forest is right there. Like we could just use the forest, so like a couple trees of the forest to rebuild this and make it look just so much nicer again. And so I was like, don't worry, bro. Like, we're gonna, we're gonna, like, I'm gonna fix this, right? I'm gonna make this look good as new. And he's like, what about the rest of the stuff around us? And I was like, you know what? We'll do that too. And I think I was like referring to like the town, I guess, around us that's like kind of like falling apart, right? And then we're just sitting there, like, enjoying the view. And then someone like says something like, oh, this just in, like the government, like in the town over, or something like that. And we're like, what the actual announcement was, I don't know, but something about the government. And we're like, what? And so I leave out of this pavilion, and I start like moving away from it, right? And then you hear boom, and you look over, and there's an explosion off. Like all you can see is the explosion climbing over like the top of the trees. So you can't really see where it is or how far away it is, but there's a big explosion that goes off, and it's just like, what the heck is going on there? And then another one goes off in the other direction. It's like, this is really weird. This is not good. Like, that's not normal, right? And then, you know, like I'm already outside of like this pavilion thing, and the rest of my family isn't yet. And I don't know why I'm outside of it. I don't know if I just thought like, oh, well, like we'll move this way, or like I just felt like we should start like running. And then I was like, I was started running, I think, basically after I saw those explosions. I started to run, but then I realized, wait, I don't know where to run to, right? Because then these planes started flying overhead and dropping these massive bombs. And but what I mean by massive bombs is, I mean like they were comically large coming out of the plane. Like, and this was a dream, so it doesn't really make sense. But like maybe they just was for understanding. They just started dropping these massive bombs, just carpet bombing. Boom, 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 boom. And I started running, but I realized I could be running right into the explosions. I don't know where to run to, right? Like, because there was more than one plane. So there was one plane coming this way, one plane on this side, and I was like in the middle of them. But I was like, I don't know where to run to because they're dropping bombs everywhere. Like, where's a safe location? And basically I just stopped. I turned around. I was like, my family was finally starting to run. They're coming to catch up to me. But my mom, like, is slower, right? So she couldn't, so the big bombs dropped, right? And they were outside the blast radius for the big bombs, but out of the big bombs came little bombs that spread out even farther, right? And they were like, bah, 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 bah. And I was like, oh crap, they had tiny bombs too. And, and my mom is still running. And the blast, like, you ever seen like those movies where they're running and the explosion is right behind them, right? And they're like just barely escaping the explosion. That's basically what my mom did. And I was like, oh my gosh. And what happened is that she survived the explosion, right? Wasn't harmed by that. But apparently she had like a bullet wound in her leg. from the previous engagement where like we had to fight off, right? I didn't even know that like she was injured. She wasn't really relevant to the plot until this point, really. So turns out she's got a bullet wound. She can't really run, right? So I go to like pick her up, and she's like, ow, my leg, right? So I was like, okay, well, if I can't lift you up that way, then get on my back, right? So I'm trying to like. This probably has to do with a little bit with just my relationship with my parents, because I don't but like I mean, which is good, but like I don't have a bad relationship with my parents, but my mom has a tendency to like, she's a mom, so she wants to help, right? So she always tries to tell you what you should do, right? And sometimes it's like, yeah, I know that, right? Right? So I'm trying to pick her up by getting on her back, and she's panicking, right? She's freaking out, which is also typical mom behavior. And I'm like, you need to calm down. Like, I can't pick you up if you're like freaking out. Like, I can't do anything if you can't calm down, and we can like just like pick you up, right? And so looking back into my dream, I should have asked my brothers to help me carry my mom. But I didn't. And I think they kept running because it was just me and her, I think. And what exactly happens, I don't know, because this is where my dream ends, right? But I'm trying to pick up my mom, and I'm like down on my knees, right? I'm like, get on my back, right? And then I have to like try and like stand up. But it's like, it's hard to get out of this position when you have a lot of weight on your back. So I was like, kind of like, I couldn't really get back up. Like, cause once you get past like this point, then you start to use both legs again. But when you're down here, like you're really working off of basically one leg. So it's like, I'm trying to use actual logic for why this was, but this was in a dream. But basically this is what happened. I couldn't actually stand back up with her on my back. I was struggling to get up, and I was like, you need to stop freaking out. Like, I can't get proper balance. I can't stand up if you keep, freaking out or whatever. And that's where the dream ends. So I don't know if I actually ever stand up and am able to, get out of there. But, another thought that I had after the dream ended is that, so my mom is religious, right? And the thought that I had is I should have told her, pray to God, right? Like, because, if we're going to die, if the bombs are going to drop on us, it's going to happen, right? So you can either freak out and be worried that you're going to die, right? Or accept that there was no escape in the first place. Either way, right, you got to stop panicking, because you're going to die if you're going to die, right? If God doesn't want to protect you, then God doesn't want to protect you. And that's it. What can you do about that? We're just humans. We're just people. We're just living on this earth, right? And so what I should have told her is just start praying, right? Like, because what I have found in my experience is the act of prayer, in my mind, the act of prayer is almost like, what's the right word for this? I like, the term that came to my head first is sacrilegious. I don't know if that's the right thing, but I feel like for someone that believes in God, right? The act of praying for God to provide safe passage, for God to do anything, just seems so bizarre to me. I don't really comprehend the logic. God is God. Do you have that little faith that you think you need to ask God to provide what you need? I feel like it doesn't, like, if you really think about it, it doesn't make sense. Do you think God doesn't know your problems? Do you think God doesn't know what you're going to ask? Do you think God isn't going to help you? All of those things are blasphemy. Like, the act of prayer just seems so, like, if you pray to ask for things from God, it just seems so absurd to me. I don't understand that. You because, like, you could say, you could pray to God and say thank you, and just have a conversation with God. That's fine, right? Like, but if you're asking for things from God, you don't need to ask. God knows what you're looking for. God knows what you want. That doesn't mean that God is going to give you that, because God knows what you need. And I just feel like it's a very bizarre thing. But I think that if I had told my mom that, it might have been something to help calm her down and comfort her, because it would have reminded her, oh yeah, God can protect us. And because she's religious, that would have meant something to her. Because at the end of the day, whether or not there's a God, the overarching premise is true. If you're meant to die, you will. And whatever saved you, you can call that God if you want. It does not matter, because at the end of the day, you were saved, right? Whether or not, and another thing with this dream that basically I came to the conclusion on with this is that it does not matter what happens. You will only survive it basically if you're lucky, right? If you're meant to. And it's the same thing with war. Anyone that goes to war and thinks they're going to be an absolute, just like super skilled fighter that's going to be on the front lines and pushing through the ranks and never going to get shot because they're just so tactically savvy, you're wrong. Because one random grenade, one drop of a bomb from a plane, right? One airstrike, one artillery fire, and you're gone. War, it does not matter how skilled you are with a rifle. It does not matter how skilled you are at maneuvering, because technology got rid of that, right? You could either be the dumbest person on the battlefield or the smartest, and you have the same chance of survival. Maybe a slight difference, but just about the same chance of survival because of how combat is fought. It is by chance that you survive. And every second that you survive on the battlefield is just as unlikely as the first. And it's the same thing with living life in general. However, it is extremely exaggerated when you're on the battlefield, because now you're in a zone of conflict, right? When we live our lives, there's a million ways you could die every day. When you're on the battlefield, the probability of all of those possibilities increases. And so, you can freak out and you can panic and be like, oh no, the world is ending and we're all gonna die. But the reality is, if that is true, then there's no point of panicking. If we're all going to die, then we're all going to die. You can freak out about it and do nothing with your life until the last second. Or you can accept that and continue living until you die. Because, newsflash, we're all gonna die. Eventually everyone dies. So, you can say, oh no, my life's been cut short, but who are you to say that your life was meant to be long? And I know that that's callous, I know that that's unfair, but no one ever said it was fair. No one ever said everyone that's born gets to live a full life and a perfect life. That was never stated anywhere. It's just not how it is. Why is that not how it is? Well, there's an infinite amount of ways you could theorize that is the case. But it doesn't matter that, it doesn't change the fact that it is the case. That not everyone is equal. That not everyone gets the same lot in life. And in my opinion, the diversity is what allows for growth. And not on a single sense, but on a collective sense. And I know that that means nothing to the majority of people, because who cares about the collective growth when my life is all that I know? And it's understandable. Like, you want to live. Everyone wants to live. Nobody wants to die. However, that's not something we have the ability to escape, you know. And so, we should accept that. And what the rest of my dream means, that's the thing that I'm going to focus on with this. What the rest of my dream means is up to you to interpret. But I don't, I don't think it's good, right? I don't think the meaning is good. However, I don't think I really have a solution to it, because at the end of the day, the powers that be are greater than the powers of me. And, I think it's going to be quite a lot of turbulence before we get to smooth sailing again. So buckle up and batten down the hatches or something. And keep living, if the ship is sinking, let's sing one last good sea shanty as it goes. Peace out.